Welcome back. All right. So yesterday I talked about my 15 favorite female wrestlers, and I just want to say people have been mentioning names of what about Julia? Julia's an excellent wrestler. Becky Lynch is an excellent wrestler. There's a lot of and Toni Storm officially right now is retired, so not on the list, but she's expected to be back very, very soon. So it's tough to have these lists too. Like, for instance, the men's, I was looking today for a place to put Sami Zayn. I was like, well, Sami Zayn should be on this list, but looking at everybody I've got on the list, right now, currently, he doesn't end up in the top 15, which says a lot about just how many good wrestlers there are, just how many that I'm rooting for. So, yeah, wrestlers that aren't on the list doesn't mean I don't like them, don't support them. It's just there's a lot right now. So, number 15 on the list of male wrestlers that I'm rooting for. Number 15. Damian Priest. Damian Priest was, of course, kind of made by Judgment Day. Turned him around on the main roster, anyways. He won the title. I've seen some people that weren't happy with the title reign that he was given. And I can't argue that like it was a great title reign or anything, but I didn't think it was as bad as some seem to think. And I don't think that he's going to be hurt in terms of his ability to get back and potentially win the title again. I absolutely think he's going to get back there and do it again. The Terror Twins angle with him and Rhea Ripley, I think, works. And so eventually he should get another title, whether it's the world title, the WWE title, or whatever title he ends up getting. Damian Priest, I think, is going to be upper mid card to main event. I think is where he's going to reside from now going forward. Number 14. We've discussed this wrestler on the channel before, years ago. Hangman Adam Page. I kind of feel like I should. Okay, first off, so WWE, AEW. I kind of feel like Adam Page, AEW kind of dropped the ball there. There was a lot of momentum and a lot of fan support, and then I don't know, it kind of fell apart, and then the fans turned against Adam Page at some point, so they turned him heel, and I'm not sure where they're headed with his character. To me, Adam Page feels like one of those guys who should probably change companies. I know he's not going to, but it feels like if he went over to WWE, that he might be a bigger deal. They might, tighten up the character a little bit, and I think Adam Page is a very good wrestler who is somewhat underrated, to be honest. Number 13, and I never thought I'd see the day. I didn't. I was in a WWE crowd in Vancouver. Actually, I was in a WWE crowd here in Abbey, I think, as well. That loudly booed Roman Reigns when he was supposed to be a face. When he was supposed to be the good guy, and everybody was going against him. And now Roman Reigns has just kind of become that quiet, cool guy who, and I say quiet because he spends 20 minutes coming to the ring. He doesn't say anything during those 20 minutes. And it works. It absolutely works. Turning him heel made it work. Fans complained for years that the WWE wasn't turning him heel, and this is why. Making him the bad guy, having him, run roughshod over everybody, it will always create hate from some, but respect from others, and it works for his character. So I think Roman Reigns, now that he's being written well, now he's become one of my favorite wrestlers. Honorable mention to Seth Rollins too. This is to me, and Randy Orton is not on the list either. Number 12, also WWE. Now, if I really wanted to be, the nerdular wrestling fan that I am, I would have put Walter up there, right? But it's Gunther, WWE champion. And I've really enjoyed Gunther's work lately. I've found it very entertaining. I will disagree with people who say he's not very good at cutting promos. I think he cuts excellent promos. I think he's good at saying it without having to raise his voice. He's good at saying it without having to use as many words as some of the other wrestlers. It's not completely dissimilar to how Jake Roberts would cut promos back in his day, where he spoke softly, he didn't have to say a whole lot, and it got him over. And with Gunther, I think it's a similar scenario. But I'm rooting for maybe a face change. I don't know how long he would last as a good guy in wrestling, but it could absolutely work. Number 11, an AEW wrestler here, but I'm gonna say straight out that Ricky Starks has all the talent in the world, especially when I remember to add the S at the end of his name. And I feel like him going to WWE, and it may sound strange, but yeah, if Ricky Starks were to go to WWE, I think he would become one of the biggest stars very quickly. He is a very good talker. He's very good on the mic. He's got a very good character. He's got a good move set. And I'm not sure why he's never got more over in AEW. I'm not sure what the issue is there, but for me, Ricky Starks is one of the absolutely most talented wrestlers. At this point, I can mention too, Cody Rhodes is not on the list. Yeah, Cody Rhodes isn't on the list. So, it's a pretty stacked list and shows that I think that much of Ricky Starks. It would be nice to see him, fully healthy, at his best, and winning a world title. That's what I'd like to see for Ricky Starks. And I kind of feel like if he went to WWE and had some time in NXT, like Ethan Page is having right now, I think that would do a lot for him. As I think it has for Ethan Page. Ethan Page just looks at home. He's not on the list either. He looks at home in NXT. Number 10 on the list. The one issue WWE has in the Bloodline angle storyline with Bloodline 1.0 against Bloodline 2.0, Jacob Fatu is the coolest. Jacob Fatu is fantastic. Like, he legitimately to me feels like somebody you could just one day say, you know what? I'm just going to beat everybody up and take all the titles. And nobody can stop me. And he's one of those wrestlers that could make that work. I think that Jacob Fatu, at some point, WWE should split him off from the group, have him go on a singles run, and just work his way through absolutely everybody. And he should be beating up the bad guys. He should be beating up the good guys. Everybody. It's just Jacob Fatu's ring. And I think he is legitimate enough to carry that out. Now, there's going to be a point someday in the future when we wake up and say, when did WWE become entirely Samoan? And we're going to get there and we're going to embrace it. That all of them will be from the Anoa'i family, or Anoa'i, right? Anoa'i family. Either I have to get used to it because eventually it's going to be World Wrestling Samoans. It's and you know what? With the two Bloodline storylines, it just Hikaleo's been signed. Like, there are so many of the Samoan wrestlers, you could have an entire company made up of one family. So yeah, Jacob Fatu, one of the many, and he's a fantastic wrestler too. Number 9, an AEW wrestler who used to be in WWE. And you know what, damn it? He is still one of the coolest wrestlers there is. And I'm not sure why AEW has dropped the ball with Malachi Black, but they have. The House of Black at one point was red hot, and I was like, all right, so you got to give him the tag belts, and Malachi Black's got to get one of the belts there too, and it didn't happen. I really thought Brody King and Buddy Matthews would be set up to be tag champs, and Malachi Black would go for the world title and maybe win, a secondary title, like the TNT title. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing with that group because it is a very talented group of wrestlers, and Malachi Black to me is still one of the coolest looking wrestlers in wrestling. I mean, maybe it's promo ability that doesn't quite work with Malachi Black. I'm just trying to find something here because everything else just works, right? Number 8, another AEW wrestler. So there's going to be more AEW wrestlers on this list than on the women's list, which works because it does feel like the women are not booked as well in AEW. So Adam Cole. I've seen all the discussions of Adam Cole's build on the internet and how small he is. Has nobody seen Rey Mysterio before? Has nobody seen like wrestling from back in the 80s where normal looking guys would sometimes be wrestlers and they do pretty well? I'm perfectly fine with Adam Cole being on the smaller side. My concern is whether or not he's able to withstand the physical punishment of wrestling and the amount of injuries he's had over the years, the amount of time missed. It is something to keep an eye on, but Adam Cole, I think has one of the coolest intros. He's fantastic when it comes to the promos, and he makes me care. He just does, and that goes back to his ROH days. I watched both Adam Cole and Adam Page when they were in ROH, which at times was kind of like, okay, wait, which one's which again? Which one's which? Which one? Because way back then, and we're talking like I think a decade ago, I just had a harder time going. Okay, that's Adam Page, that's Adam Cole. There, all right, I got to keep these two straight because I'd mix up their names. But Adam Cole is one of my favorites. Has been for a very long time. I was so excited when he showed up in NXT, and I still pop when he shows up. So, yeah, I'm an Adam Cole fan. Number 7. So, Swerve Strickland might be the biggest mistake WWE's made in terms of wrestlers they haven't held on to. Swerve Strickland is a main eventer, and I sometimes feel like AEW knows what they've got with him. I mean, they put the title on him, but do they know just how over this guy can get, just how big this guy can get? And I do feel like he's got to win back the title at some point. Swerve's fantastic. I think he cuts a great promo. He can play face, he can play heel, and he's just really good at creating a unique character. His battles with Bobby Lashley should be fantastic, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm very happy Bobby Lashley switched companies. When SmackDown was in Vancouver, I know it's storyline, but I kind of felt like he sounds actually frustrated. Like, he cut a promo in the ring, and I don't think this one was on TV. This one, I think, was during the commercial break, talking about how he'd had a rough year and that he was vowing that the coming year was going to get better and he was going to focus and go towards a title opportunity. And then it just doesn't happen, right? So I do feel bad for Bobby Lashley that way. I think he tried his best in WWE. And so in AEW, I think he's going to get more of a chance to do what he wants to do here. And so him working with Strickland should help both of them. And Strickland, if he at some point is aligned with Bobby Lashley, I don't think that's going to hurt him either, because Strickland's character is really, really well done. And I had no idea when he was in WWE that he'd be capable of this. So good on him. Number 6. Another AEW wrestler. Well, look at that. So this is where it's interesting too. I've talked about AEW and how their shows aren't as watchable as they were, and I have a hard time sitting through the full 2 hours. Even though, if you're looking, that's 4 AEW wrestlers in a row. And now we're up to MJF at number 6. And as much as they may try to screw up MJF's character with the face heel turn, and just some of the storyline with him and Adam Cole was really well done, and some of it was really badly done, but MJF is still one of the absolute greatest. And his ability to be in character at all times. You know what? It's not far off from Chelsea Green. It's not. What MJF does on social media is not completely out from what she's doing, Chelsea Green, in WWE. So MJF gets my full respect for always being in character, but knowing how to say things in a shoot manner at times, which I'm sure gets under the skin of his opposition. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't. If you want to call out wrestlers for being failures, if you want to talk about a little bit of behind the scenes stuff here and there, just to get yourself over, I don't have a big problem with that. And I think MJF does it really, really well. I do. I think MJF is really good at what he does. And CM Punk's not on the list either. I'm just throwing it out there because people are like, "Oh, CM Punk." CM Punk's not on the list. There's a lot of really good wrestlers right now. We're very fortunate. Number 5 is also an AEW wrestler, although he's currently on the shelf, and I don't know if he's going to come back 100% or what things are going to look like for him. But Adam Copeland, up until he took that ill-advised dive off the top of a cage, I think the sky was the limit for him, and there was some interesting stuff they were doing with him with the House of Black. So Adam Copeland, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, as of course Edge in WWE for a vast majority of his career. But the fact that Copeland's around my age and he's still as defined when you look at his muscles as he is, it's just absolutely insane. And hopefully when he does come back healthy, he brings Beth Phoenix with him. It would be great to see him and his wife in a mixed tag match at some point in AEW. Something along those lines. And I think Copeland is still capable of being one of the best wrestlers. He may not be what he was 20 years ago, but how many of us are? At number 4, this one might surprise people. And what's interesting is, this wrestler would not be in the top 15 if I hadn't watched him live. So Buddy Matthews was the most underrated wrestler, I think, in WWE history. I would put him at the top of the list in terms of underrated wrestlers. When, how many years ago was that? WWE came in and he had, I think it was a cruiserweight belt. And I have never seen such an entertaining, technical, fun, high-flying at times match as when Buddy Matthews was in the ring. I think I've seen him live twice. And both times, he's absolutely blown my mind. And now he's in AEW, and I don't feel like they know what they got either. Buddy Matthews, there's no reason this guy can't be a world champion other than he just doesn't get the attention other guys do. Buddy Matthews is absolutely fantastic in the ring, and I definitely think 4th is the right spot for him. So again, AEW all the way from 9 through 4. So for anybody who's, he just hates AEW. No, in fact, you got Starks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. More than half the list is AEW, even though I watch WWE all the time. I truly enjoy the product from WWE Wrestling. I think AEW has the better wrestlers on the whole, but it's close. Number 3 is a WWE wrestler. I remember the Believe in NXT. I remember Bo Dallas being champion in NXT, and the whole Believe character, which worked. It did. And he was so smarmy, and he was so fake, and he was just... It was awesome. And then Bo Dallas gets called up on the main roster, and they keep the Believe thing, but then he's a jobber. He's losing every week. And I was like, well, wait a minute. This storyline and the whole angle, the idea of Believe does not work if he's losing every week. Sure enough, he ends up in kind of a modernized Job Squad type group. And there's Bo Dallas at number 3 on my list because I think he's an excellent wrestler. And it is an absolute bloody shame that his brother passed. And I really hope that Bo Dallas at some point in time, whether it's as Bo Dallas or his Uncle Howdy, wins a title in WWE. He has been there for a very long time. He's a good wrestler. And from every report I've ever heard, he's a great guy. And he's gone through a lot over the last couple of years. And I think a title reign for him would be amazing. And the Wyatt Six, if I was ranking factions, it's easily the best, in my opinion. I know for some, the other worldly stuff and the lights going out and the piano and all that gets kind of but for me, I love the cinematic stuff. At some point, on some level, it can get kind of silly. But yeah, the Bo Dallas stuff, the Wyatt Six stuff, his split personality, he is one of the best, I would say one of the best actors among the wrestlers in that you can really believe his character. There's the Believe. There it is. See, Believe. But yeah, Bo Dallas, I have nothing but tremendous respect for him. And it's interesting, too, because on the list here, how many world champions are there? Not many. I do tend to root for the underdog. Although number 2 has been world champion a couple of times, he'll get back. And what's interesting, too, is that if you told me, 10, 15 years ago, hey, so you're going to be a YouTuber, I would have said, sure I will. And one of your favorite wrestlers is going to be Drew McIntyre. I'd be like, you are crazy. Drew McIntyre, that one that was the chosen one of Vince McMahon, and then the whole thing just fell apart. That skinny kid, that Drew McIntyre, the one that went out on the indie scene, and he bulked up, he fixed his character, he is absolutely one of the best wrestlers, period. Again, watching him not too long ago in Vancouver, and he had a good match with Ricochet, who does not make the list. But Ricochet is a very talented wrestler as well. McIntyre is the whole 9 yards for me. Like, he's got the look. He can cut great promos. He makes you believe in him, or believe, whether he's a face or a heel. He can switch very quickly. When When he wrestled in Vancouver, the crowd was on his side. And so in the match between Ricochet and Drew, very quickly it was obvious that the fans were kind of behind Drew. So Drew wasn't working the match as like an evil heel. They kind of both worked it as like, kind of face-ish characters and not like anything really dastardly going on. And then he cut a great promo after the match. And it was an impassioned promo. It was in character, so he was still his wrestling character, while he was also kind of doing a shoot where he was talking about how much he appreciated the fans, because we just kept cheering him. It didn't matter what he said, we were still cheering him. He's like, you know what? He said, I believe that his words were, I love that the fans here appreciate me. And we do. So, yeah, Drew McIntyre is, I think, one of the most talented wrestlers they have, and he's got to get an actual run with the title at some point. With fans in attendance, it'd be nice. During the era where there weren't fans in attendance, he was champ. It didn't have the same gravitas. I think he could be an excellent champion for WWE. I was kind of surprised he didn't win a Clash of the Castle, to be completely honest. Number one on the list, it has to be, absolutely has to be, and can only be, so on SmackDown this week, Kevin Owens, now he's a heel again. He doesn't change. Kevin Owens, the heel, Kevin Owens, the face, not really a change, just his tone. He just makes himself a little bit whinier when he's a heel. Rest of his tactics stay very largely the same. His character, very largely the same. It's just a very short pivot. And it reminds me of Steve Austin that way, where Austin, when he was a heel or a face, you couldn't tell during a match. You could only tell by the promos cut before or after the match. Or who he was fighting would give you an idea, too. Kevin Owens can make a very good case for why he's a heel right now. He can make a very good case against Cody Rhodes or against Randy Orton. And he can also come across as a complete whiner at the same time. So for some fans, they might be like, hey, I understand where he's at. And other fans might be like, he's completely wrong. One wrestler who was excellent at that was Bret Hart. Bret Hart, and that's part of the reason why when they were in Canada, everybody cheered Bret Hart. And when they were in the States, everybody booed him. And it wasn't just simply the border itself that made that difference. It was his words and how he felt about things and how he talked about stuff, and just fans in Canada agreed with him, and fans in the States didn't. And in Owens' case, some fans are going to agree with him on this, and some fans aren't. And he is in this place where he doesn't need a title. Recently, apparently said he doesn't care about ever winning a title again. He doesn't think he needs it. He's right. He doesn't need it. Wrestlers reach that point where the title no longer makes any difference to their push, makes no difference to their character. I don't know if pay comes into that, though. I think, they all get their guaranteed contracts. I don't think if they don't get a title run that means they're going to make less money. Randy Orton's a good example. Orton does not need to win another title. He really doesn't. He just goes out there, I hear voices in my head, starts playing, and the next thing you know, the whole crowd's going bonkers. And he can come out, he can hit a few RKOs, and even if he loses, he doesn't lose any of his reputation. Nobody says, oh, this guy sucks because he's lost. So Kevin Owens kind of has that too. Kevin Owens is legitimately a really tough wrestler. And I remember when he was in NXT, and he was that monster heel. And on the main roster, they've kind of booked him that way sometimes, but not to that extent. So this time out, if they really let him play that monster heel, it might get rid of some of the cheering that's going to come out for Owens here and there. Not all of it, but it might be fun to see. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding my 15 favorite male wrestlers. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.